What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Dynasty Trade Show. So glad you're here. Man, it's been a couple weeks. And we got a lot of deals to break down. It is absolutely contender season. We are in the semifinals this week. Can't believe that the fantasy football season is almost over. We literally have 2 weeks left. And then it's rookie hype, draft season, everything that we love in Dynasty. So, with that being said, if you got a few more deals that you want to get featured, patreon.com/South Harmon is the place to be. That's where you can drop your deals. And also, listen, rookie film sessions going to be starting up real soon because we got nothing else to do as soon as
it starts over again. You know, we do it again. Rookies again.
All over again. Run it back. Run it back, baby.
I mean, it is crazy to think there's only 2 weeks left. We'll see. We'll get through the trades. We kind of have it's not a marathon. It's a little, I don't know, mini one maybe you say. But
little one.
Mike and I both have plenty of deals we're not going to feature. We have a ton of deals to get through. And the crazy part is that it's still only the semis. So, Mike, let me ask you this. Before we do, you didn't think the curse could get any worse, honestly. I'm kind of really dabbling. Shout out to certified sh.it. I'm starting to dabble in the retired player jerseys. You know, the fates I can no longer control or fuck with, really more so than anything. So go over to Fanatics. Make sure you get yourself some certified shit. Certified sh.it. They have some crazy deals actually going on at the moment as well. Make sure you check out our partners, Ultimate Autograph. Get yourself some signed shit, signed sh.it. Now that the Quo Pro's out of the way, let's see, Mike, if you want to sign off on this deal or not, you know?
It is very important, Adam, because Christmas is next week, all right? And while your family may not get you the shit that you love, those 2 websites will.
It's important to,
go get it yourself.
Especially if your contenders are struggling. This is a good way to contend this time of year. Mike, here's is it Christmas time? The time of giving or the time of receiving? Let's see what you think of some of these deals. I'm curious to see some of yours too. I will tell you sent them to me. I haven't even looked. Forward straight to Blitz. We're going live in person on the show as far as reactions. Mike, so I actually have one I got to sneak in here that just hot off the presses Evie and I made. So this league is called Call Me Daddy. Big shout out to Coop. Look at me. I'm your father now, all right? Took him out this week. We're in the semis in this league. It was an auction this offseason. And Mike, my team I thought would be a contender, but, there was definitely multiple points throughout the season where I wasn't sure. And a lot of times in a, fresh up, startup, or auction, you're, wanting to dip your toes in as opposed to, full plummeting. I still have most of my picks, but this was a deal I actually sent over to Redwoods when Ayuk, it's going Instagram, all the stuff over there. Shanahan hasn't seen him in a month. Who knows? But once it's officially like, hey, he's not coming back for the season, I still like him. But we're getting to that point in Dynasty with his Dynasty age, and there's enough out there for people to be tired of Brandon Ayuk. So I don't know that his stock really has a lot to rebound in the offseason. Now, when he starts playing, maybe you'll see some bounce back. But sent him away as well as Horton for, surprise, Mike, Chuba Hubbard. Just when you thought he was dead, he's not completely dead or written off all the way yet. It still looks like it's Rico as the 1A, but maybe he's the 1B. We can get into the WoRP of this league, but I pick up Mechie, Chuba Hubbard, and Luke Musgrave. It's a 2 tight end league. And one of the things is, Mike, in the auction, I was not willing to concede to these insane prices of tight ends. So my tight end group is absolutely atrocious before, this doesn't save my tight end room, but it somewhat helps it with Luke Musgrave added in. Where are you at with this deal?
This is a gross contender best ball deal if there ever was one at this time of year, right? This is what we're leading off the trade show with, but yeah, this is 3 who gives a fucks for 2 who gives a fucks. that's where we're at, right?
I feel like Ayuk got at a certain, honestly, as soon as it was he's out for the season, there's no chance he comes back. He quickly for me became. I don't give a fuck anymore. I got to move this guy. You know what I mean? I just can't keep you on my roster, period.
They got him down in the 50s on Keep Trade Cut, which, he's just propped up there by name because, right, we're going to get no production this year. the next time we do see him is probably on a new team, a new situation, new coaching staff, new quarterback, the whole works. And it's fresh off of the last time we saw him with a multi-ligament knee injury for a wide receiver that is turning 28, right at the range of, oh, fuck. So this is where we're at with Brandon Ayuk. There's a lot of negatives. So 50 might even be a little bit high because he's probably going to settle down in the 60s, maybe even the 70s when it's all said and done. So whatever the hell you can, if you're a contender, like whatever the hell you can get back, like, is there something that could make a lineup in a best ball league? Fuck it. I mean, that's where we're at. That is where we're at with Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, and I feel like, man, Horton, at least for me, is one of these guys where, you know, speaking of the offseason and deep diving, Horton's a guy like I liked him, the prospect, but I wasn't sure what the draft capital landing spot, how it would go. And he showed well enough early to where it kind of pains me to get rid of him at this point. But, again, like, especially I think in best ball, one of the things that you have to do, at least I feel as though, monitor how many roster spots you have and how many zeros you have. And just frankly, it's like you got to get rid of the partial, whether you're partial to someone or not. It's just you got to move on from a certain amount of zeros. So, Mike, when I'm not getting rid of picks and I'm getting rid of zeros off my roster, I thought I had to move off these guys. I will say I'm curious for your thoughts on Redwoods here. You know, never loved to do a deal at all with a Michigan guy. You know, but there comes a time and a place. I feel like it's for him too. Like, dude, Musgrave, Mechie, and Chuba. Like, what do I give a fuck about these guys if I'm not in the playoffs, right?
Right, exactly. The only thing I'll say, Redwoods sent me out a deal, I think it was today or late last night, kind of similar. On the opposite side, I would be taking on the upside players. The problem was the shit he was sending me that was upside was just not.
The upside you didn't think was there?
No yeah, like Torrey Horton or Brandon, you can make a case, and I'm sure there'll probably be somebody in the comments who's standing for him, like, for sure. But to your point, like I got to have at least an iota of upside. You know what I mean? Because if I'm just trading who gives a fuck for who gives a fuck, then
give me the guys that aren't hurt. Yeah, I get you.
give me the guys who aren't hurt. You know, maybe they do something, right?
Sure.
And I still have one more week, right? It might appeal to whoever makes it into the finals, right? Or if there's a third place game for cash money, it might appeal to those guys, right? Or sometimes some of these leagues have toilet bowls that have draft pick implications on the line as far as like who gets the first pick or maybe who gets an extra quote unquote first rounder or whatever it may be. So, I mean, there's still possibilities for me to snatch some upside. So yeah, if I'm going to do it on Redwood's side, shout out Red, like this is the kind of thing I need back. I need something with some legitimate upside, not some absolutely completely dead assets, you know, like he didn't put him in the deal, but I'm just giving you an example, like a Marshawn Lloyd. Like, that shit's over. Like that shit is over. There's no hope.
Yeah.
There's no hope. At least with Torrey Horton or Brandon Ayuk, you have an iota of hope.
All right, Mike. And here, as you see, got it coming back here. This is a little sketchy because it just literally happened as we're doing the show here. 1 the seconds to me. We did the 40 Chess podcast on it. On a best ball contender. I feel like the value in my head, what I've always kind of had in reverence for a second round pick versus where it really is for me, separating those two things. But also, Mike, it's a start 2 tight end league. Luke Musgrave was legitimately like penciled in as my tight end too. So even if Travis Kelce is dead after this and he doesn't do much if he gets hurt, whatever, like the amount of bodies I have at tight end are very bad. So honestly, Rodgers at the moment, just a quarterback that goes into Superflex. Love that. But I might have even made this trade for just Kelce, frankly, for a second because of where I need to have a tight end body in there.
I think that's key. Even if you didn't need a tight end, right? If I'm a contending team, right? With us doing the second round picks and actually how fucking terrible they are, right?
Yeah.
That 40 episode. I don't really give a shit. I see what Eric's doing because there's going to be a lot of people, especially 27, like with how much we're building up 27 already.
Dude,
there's going to be a lot of people who are going to buy into the fucking hype when it comes to 27 draft season.
Big time. Dude, I'm telling you, it's already so evident because, Mike, my 26 picks, right? So if I'm a contending team and I have my own first still, I mean, people are so... Like, they're valuing 27 first, even if you're penciling in late. Obviously, you can't do that theoretically quite as well. But I don't want to say double, but nearly, like significantly more valuable for them to get a 27. So, I mean, dude, especially when we're not talking first round picks, have at it. But I will say there's probably a point of hoarding where when you have all that value in that class and it's like people are fawning over it, it's worth getting the picks too.
In the long run, it's like we talked on the 40 episode. If he uses that pick as a leverage piece to trade to somebody else or whatever, great. If he sticks and picks with that pick and thinks it's going to be something fucking fantastic, not so great. Which is exactly why I put up a post-it note on my fucking monitor. So every time I sit down here, it says, don't value any second-round picks over like 203 ever again. Right? Just use them as pieces and leverage deals, but don't think like this is going to change my franchise. You know, this is going to change how I run my dynasty. It's not. It's just a piece. So if I'm a contender, I'm very comfortable with this. And if I'm Eric too, like on the other side, it's like, cool. If I got a plan for this pick, I don't give a fuck about Rodgers or Kelsey. Neither one of them could be playing after this year. They could both retire, right? So,
definitely
getting something for them.
Mike, I mean, I think there's a case to be made that if Kelsey has any type of a nick this week at all, I mean, it could be, that's it for the kid right now. We don't even see him in the championship game, So
exactly. The only thing I would have done differently is I would have gone like, hey, I'm going to need like a third or a fourth,
Sure.
Like it's a basketball league, fucking toss some shit on here.
I do think what's interesting about those is like the market. Sometimes I guess maybe no one's giving you whatever. You're just like, fuck it. I want these bodies off my team. Let the bodies hit the floor, as they say. Call me daddy. So I'm in the Final Four. Barry's in the Final Four. We'll see what we get done. Speaking of Barry, let's keep it themed here. The BTC 1. Okay, Mike. This deal here is Dallas Goedert, Javonte Williams, Kamani Vidal. Just clean sweep it, right? First, second, third. Talk to us here. Talk to us about the settings and then, what your thought process was in making this one.
I got sent this one. I lost in the first round in every one of Barry's Triple Crown leagues. So there's 3 leagues, right? There's payouts for each league, but then a big total pot for, who takes the Barry Triple Crown. Yeah. Losing all 3 in the first round, fuck me.
That's a nice kick in the fucking teeth, Oof.
Thankfully,
Happy holidays, right?
Thankfully, on my part, I hadn't done too much pushing in any one of those leagues where I'm like, oh, shit, damn it. Like, I wasn't anticipating the 7th pick or the 8th pick or whatever the fuck it's going to be, Like, that's not burnt. So when this one gets sent, somebody's still in the playoffs, it's like, dude, how much is Dallas Goedert and Javonte Williams and Kamani Vidal really worth to me in 2026, right? What's worth more to me? The fluidity and the liquidity of the picks and being able to move them in the offseason and kind of shape my roster how I want, or actually having those players. And for me, that was pretty easy. Fuck it. Here you go. You take them, right? Sure. We can make cases about they love Javonte and they're going to bring him back. And, in that offense, is he going to be worth a first again next year? Sure. We can. But it's a basketball league, so tight ends. You just traded a second for fucking Travis Kelce. Dallas Goedert, Travis Kelce.
I'd take a second for Goedert. I would take, honestly, Mike, if I'm not contending, right? So if I'm not playing at the moment, like a second for Goedert, I would say, like you're going to have to get to an extreme setting league, right? Like a 2 tight end and a heavy tight end premium. And for me to be like, nah, just give me the fucking second at this point, even knowing what we just said about second round picks.
And WoRP-wise, holistically wise, thinking about it, I just talked about those picks. Now, my plan, and that's why I got the fucking post-it note, is I'm not just going to keep this second-round pick wherever it lands just to take it and think it's going to be a one-for-one Dallas Goedert replacement.
There you go.
But thinking about it long-term, it's a best ball league. It's with tight ends. The odds of me actually finding a tight end on fucking waiver wires who's going to give me 70, 80% of what Dallas Goedert does next year are pretty fucking good. Right, I can just roster a shit ton of them. Figure out which one it is.
A lot of times you can. Surprisingly, you'll find them. Whether you believe it or not. Now, I think in the off season, as you're making these picks, right? Remember, after this final 2 weeks, we're not playing games again until fucking September, right? So there's a lot of time for people to get stuck in their values. So it's like in the tight end market in that off season time, I think. You think about the names that are there, what you're projecting, and it looks so much smaller than the pool actually is because when the season starts, it's every year guys that we don't project to be in lineups, that are making them, or guys that you think are so sure to be starters that are first, second-year players that don't actually do that. There's a lot of tight ends that typically come across throughout the year. I'll say, listen, Javonte, he's an interesting one because, he looked a lot better this year, right? He looked healthy, I think, coming off that knee injury. And I think sometimes there's not enough talk about the mental side of it, right? The mental damages that go into the injuries. And he looked confident this year. All that to say, he started off really, really well, right? If you look at through week 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of his first 8 weeks, Mike, he's a top 10 running back, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Since then, a lot more of the mediocrity of Javonte Williams. And I think you're probably doing yourself you're being smart taking a first at this time going into next year. I'm not saying Javonte will be discredited, but he's got nowhere to go up in the offseason. And if anything, he's only got to go down. So
yeah,
I like that a lot. I think Kamani Vidal, with what we know with Amari and Hampton, I would take a third or a second for him. So if I think of the win for Javonte as a first, like even if you think Goddard and Vidal are even at those picks, it was worth the trade holistically. I think I want the receiving side here typically. But if I'm pushing my chips in and this is the best I can get, I don't hate life here if I'm JK Inc. here. I think it could be a deal that works out well for both sides.
Yeah, the Javonte thing is probably interesting because we think about how surprising it was and how much of a league winner and stuff he was at the beginning part of the year. But to your point about him, we're heading into week 16 and he hasn't been an RB1 since week 8 was the last time we saw him.
He was week 8. Think about it. Week 8, 6 of those 8 weeks, top 10 running back. He's not really returned. He's got RB1, I think, finishes, but he's really more of a high-end RB2 at best, more so, right? And that's kind of what he's becoming.
And then you dodge all the off-season questions, because we don't know as much as people will.
We don't know a lot.
Try to fight me. Oh, they love him, and they're going to re-sign him and bring him back, and he's going to be the lead back. They could do something where they sign somebody in free agency to give him competition that actually unseats him. They could do something in the draft. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of uncertainty with him as far as what his true value is going to be in 2026. So, listen, you just dodge all that shit. You get a liquid pick. That one was pretty easy for me. But on the same side, if I'm on the other side of this, dude, Dallas Goedert's coming off a big game. Javonte's putting up RB2 numbers, solid RB2 numbers, and Kamani Vidal has a role and could get you double-digit points in a best ball league. Fuck it, man. I already kind of have a good feeling of I'm one of the last 4 picks for sure. Right?
Yeah.
I'll trade away my first, second, and third at this point.
Yep.
And let me go try to chase down this championship and get some money. So, I think I thought it was a good deal for each of them, for each of us. So there wasn't a whole lot of countering back and forth. I was like, oh, well, that was pretty fair right off the rip. Fuck it. Here you go. Take it. Plus, I'm salty as fuck about losing in every one of those leagues in the first round.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get you. I hear you. Jefferson, first from Andre and a fourth from Pass City. You're getting is that side, and then you're sending away Bijan in a third. Shit auction 6. So walk us through, Mike, this deal, and then if we need to get into WoRP and the lab if needed.
So long term for this, again, another league, right? Contender losing in the first round, team moving on, and Andre who's going farther, right? Another contender, I guess, failed contender deal is what we're going to call it. All right, it's over. Fucking, I don't need points anymore.
Yep.
We got to think about the future. So I tried when this one got sent to me, I tried to sit there and realistically project. We're in a startup next year in August. Jefferson and Bijan, who's going first? And if one's going first, how much sooner is that player going than the other one? And at the end of the day, I'm thinking about it, especially with the way McCarthy's played the last couple of weeks coming on. It's kind of started to solidify the long-term future of him. I know we look at Justin Jefferson. I talked about it with Fizz and T-Rock on the cook-up on Tuesday. I got to stay home and do that one live in the morning. Not very often, but I think the thing we need to remember is why the counting stats at the end of the day doesn't say Justin Jefferson and McCarthy have a connection. We also got to remember there's 2 touchdowns that got taken off the fucking board in that game that we watched when they beat Dallas. One of them, Jefferson, should have caught. It literally hit him in the fucking hands. McCarthy threw him a piss missile that Jefferson catches, 99 times out of 100. And the other one was called back for an illegal formation that was a little bit questionable. So you're like, damn, man, like we could have been looking at a completely different outcome in how we view Justin Jefferson. So I'm thinking that Bijan is probably going before Justin Jefferson somewhere at the end of the first round. But Justin Jefferson ain't going to be too far behind in a startup. He's probably going to be mid-second at the latest. So if I'm looking there and I'm going, man, I'm trading back. If I was in a startup and somebody wanted my 110, for example, for Bijan, and they wanted to give me a 205 and a future first, I would be an absolute fucking ludicrous fool to say no to that in any kind of best ball league. So I'll take the one asset and turn it into two. The sneaky thing was the third for the fourth, and I was like, man, I could just take this shit out of it. But I don't want to blow up this whole deal. Like, I don't want to blow up this whole deal because I do like getting the extra first on Jefferson so fucking much that I don't want to, like, haggle with the man and, like, fuck it, I'll just take your third for fourth swap and call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do think the market is going to cool, and it has on Jefferson. I think it's – though you kind of walk through it, I could see him being a, late second maybe at the, like, if I think about it from the what I think would be the worst case scenario type of a thing. Like I don't see him really falling out of second rounds in startups, frankly, though. Like, and the reason I say that, we went through this before in AMA. Around those top 20 to 24 assets, they're kind of solidified, whether it's from production or name cachet, elite player upside. I will say, Mike, in this one, when I look at the let's go over to the WoRP tool here. The WoRP looks to be a little more favorable to the running back. So I guess I could understand a little more why I would want to go to the Bijan side. Obviously, Bijan you think is a better scorer at the moment, although we don't know for two. There's definitely 2 weeks. For the next 2 weeks, you never know. Jefferson could go off. But I think it's probably the tax of scoring now, as well as, when you look at that was multi-year. We'll run the single year here. I think when we look at it from next year, you're going to want to have your side. I would imagine the WoRP definitely is nice for running backs. I think it makes it worth sending the first here. Like that it's warranted. If you told me in a regular league without this WoRP, I mean, holy shit. You better win the title, and you probably overpaid. I think here it's probably warranted, but I still think I'd rather have Jefferson in the pick if I'm not contending. I think if I am contending, you're telling me I get to go to that upper tier right there for the single year data. All right, fuck it. I guess my caveat here would be if I'm Andre, your roster construction, what your team looks like, because at this time of year, it's really hard. The consolidation pieces for me, it's a lot harder to make consolidating moves. I'm looking to spread my roster across. I know in Shit Auction 6, 35 fucking spots. Like, instead of having to move on from Jefferson, what can a first get me? Or, a first and another pick, like a first, a fourth, another pick. I have another player that's dead, a 0 on my roster, right? That would be my comparison. I'm not saying I couldn't still make that move right now for Bijan. It's just, man, I when I look across my options, I'd want to know that, like, I didn't have a chance to kind of spread my assets in a better way across my roster than consolidating here with a first. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So looking at ADP from last year, right? Chase was a wide receiver 1 coming off a Triple Crown. Jefferson was 2. We know that's going to move and change, right? To your point. Malik Neighbors was 3. Coming off a torn ACL, though, do you see Malik Neighbors above Justin Jefferson? I think that's more of a toss-up in, like, personal preference at that point.
I think he probably will be, because we go – as weird as it is to say, I think the age finally now will weigh in there. Like, last year, nobody cared, right? But no one saw Justin Jefferson not produce an elite clip. I think now Jefferson coming off of his worst – it's going to be his worst year, right? And him being 28 going into the season, I think he could probably go behind Malik.
What else we got here? CeeDee Lamb, him and CD probably over him for sure.
Yeah, CD. Yep.
Brian Thomas Jr. No, that ain't gonna happen.
No.
Amon-Ra, yes. Puka, yes.
Definitely those two, and JSN.
And JSN. Yeah, because after that, then like if you're talking like mid to late second, kind of what I led off with as far as Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Nico Collins, Lad McConkey.
Yeah, I think maybe you could argue Drake London potentially ahead, but like not by much. Like, you know, same conversation. I think that's going to be where he ends up at, and that's in a worst case scenario, Mike. I still think he's going to have some name cachet going into this offseason. So, it's just, man, listen, in a lineup league, Mike, I think I'm hammering this type of a trade, honestly, across a lot of my leagues, frankly, right? I'm not even going to say this can't work out for Andre. It's just, man, it's hard for me knowing the format here of best ball start, 12 or more.
Yep.
Like, I'm not even trying to hate on the trade. It could end up being a great trade if Bijan goes off for the next 2 weeks. It's just you start kind of putting your eggs into a smaller number of baskets here, one basket, so to speak. And listen, I've made some trades already in leagues that I'm not gonna say I regret them but they did. When you don't win, you know, all of a sudden it's like, damn, I didn't win. Okay, like I don't like this trade as much. So I think this is one of those where if you win the league, if Bijan goes off the next 2 weeks, you're gonna love it. But it's one of those best ball antithetical moves, in my opinion.
Yeah, thinking more short term with Bijan, you know, for Andre, getting Bijan the week he plays the fucking Cardinals in the semis to like lock you up for money, right?
Yeah.
Because most leagues are going to pay out first and second. So, listen, if you can win in the semis, you just locked up some money. You just boom, done. All right, We're in the finals. We'll see what happens. So, getting him the week he plays the Cardinals, not the worst idea. Not the worst idea. We've seen teams just absolutely fucking unload on that defense.
Yeah, no question about it. So this is in the grind. This is a league Eric and I are in together. This is one of two leagues, Mike, where I made some moves that I liked and still kind of like, but lose, unfortunately, despite the moves. So, Mike, we're in lineup start 12 here. 26 pick is already pushed in, and we didn't really want to move our 27 first in, given our roster and given, you know, it being a first-year league, right? So, Mike, we trade our Matthew Golden for Jacoby Myers. To me, Matthew Golden at this point already, Mike, has become a face planner. He's the absolute description of the word. I didn't think much of this, honestly. I felt I could not have felt better about this trade, honestly. Now, I don't think that's going to be necessarily consensus groupthink on it. I don't think everyone's quite ready to move on from Golden yet. I just personally am, based on what we know typically about this type of a shit, you know? Like, I could have cared less about that one. What do you think?
Yeah, so just put some context on it. Matthew Golden's heading for the worst wide receiver season that we've seen since Quentin Johnston, right? So that level of base player, right? So there's not any hope, because people will bring up, well, JSN was slow in his rookie season. Yeah, but JSN almost doubled Matthew Golden's yards.
Right.
You know what
JSN I mean? JSN was in a threshold discussion. What you believe the threshold was, right? If it was 700 or if it's 600, because he was, I think, 6 and change, 620 something. Like, he didn't do nothing. He didn't come out and smash in the current day and age, right? I mean, Matthew Golden, Mike's stat wise is, I mean, he's a blip on the radar. I mean, he's fucking nothing. It's bad.
Yeah. So other things too, like, just so we can kill the comparisons, right? Just to put the context around it.
I like that. Kill the comparisons.
JSN was behind Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, both at the time. Very, very
Jaden
good
Reed
NFL wide
goes
receivers.
out. Tucker Kraft goes out. Like, Matthew Golden had the opposite. He had the opportunity just here, silver platter, like, do something, anything.
Yeah. What really buried him was a guy coming off of a serious ACL injury late last year in Christian Watson, who just comes in and it's like, oh wow, Christian Watson is like what they needed for this passing.
And we thought them drafting Golden made him dead, right? He's dead. Cross him off the list.
No. His other competition, Romeo Dobbs, who's always kind of been mid, Dontavian Wicks. And it was so bad. It was so bad. They have a first-round wide receiver in Matthew Golden. It was so bad that once upon a time, Bo Melton played wide receiver. They switched him to cornerback this year and then switched his ass back to wide receiver and was like, no, we need you back.
The best ball god come the right time.
Bo Melton coming back. Yeah, this is going to be some epic face planner levels that we haven't seen. So, yes, to your point, Very, very few of these guys throughout history have ever actually panned out. We got a little QJ blurb this year, and then he's right back to being irrelevant. Everyone hates him again.
Yeah.
I believed there for about 4 or 5 weeks.
Well,
That's on me.
I do think, though, that Golden, like, I think it's similar, and I think it's just it's one of these, like, personal things where you love a player, right? You really believe in him, and you have a hard time letting go of that bias, and I think he'll be polarizing next year, right? I think there's a chance, even if he stinks again, that you could make the case he's polarizing because, Mike, you know what people are going to say, whether it's right or wrong. Well, he's the first. They finally use a first-round pick. It's just going to take some time, all this shit. Like, I don't care. To me, Mike, I personally also wasn't the biggest Golden believer as a prospect. And I was like, all right, the draft capital makes sense. I dabbled in some shares just because you gotta give it its due. I mean, they took him in the first round. He has enough of a profile to make you believe. But this type of production, I'm so processed on this type of a thing that when I miss, I'm okay with it. So this one to me was a no-brainer, honestly. I'm curious if you would you take Golden back for Jacoby, or is this too high for you?
If I'm not in it, I would take the shot on Matthew Golden just so I could potentially have an unload period at some point. You know what I mean?
He's a bounce back value candidate. I could get that, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because Jacoby Myers is always going to be capped here from here to the end. Like Jacoby Myers, I don't give a fuck what Jacoby Myers can go out for 300 yards every game for the rest of this fucking season. His value ain't going up very much more as far as how we perceive Jacoby Myers. It's not happening. So yes, I do see it from the other side, but if I'm any type of contender, especially in the lineup league like this, Jesus Christ, you let me get off Matthew Golden for actual points on my team right now? This is the easiest trade I think you could ever make. The other thing you brought up about Matthew Golden that I was going to touch to with the JSN thing, JSN was one hell of a prospect, right? JSN set fucking records and had that ridiculous Rose Bowl, right? Like JSN, we thought very highly of.
And he's at Ohio State, where it's like, well, maybe he was just buried because everyone's so great there, right?
Matthew Golden was a one-year wonder at Texas who just happened to run really fast, even though I didn't really see it. The other thing about Matthew Golden too, I listen, this isn't the greatest dynasty advice you're ever going to get, but there is something to it. Any of these fucking wide receivers that ever come out and they're like, my NFL number is going to be in the 20s, pause. All right, big red flag. Okay, you're all shit. Every single one of you who goes like, damn, I want to go against the grain and wear a number in the 20s at wide receiver, fuck you. Okay.
Yeah, that's the Najee Harris number hasn't worked out for the kid as much.
No, but Sky Moore didn't work out for any of us. And that fucking guy's like, I need a number 24. Fuck you. Okay, you're terrible.
I think he at least wore the 20s in college or some shit, but yeah, you're not wrong about that. It's not a good aesthetic thing, especially now that they have single digits for the. What are we doing in the 20s now?
And then your other.
What about the second one here? Addison for 2 seconds. Ours and shit talking Metro, who is another playoff team this year.
Lineup start 12. You got an abundance of flex spots. Jordan Addison isn't the most consistent wide receiver, but his name comes up every start-sit show just because of. Listen, the offense is very. We don't know what we're getting from McCarthy in this passing offense, but in the same sense. Addison is the perfect kind of guy that I want to start at wide receiver 3 or in a flex spot, because when Addison does boom, that is like week winning. That changes the fortunes of it. Like, man, I got 20 from Addison. Eat that. Eat that shit. So, yes. And then with our opinions on second-round picks, listen, I'm glad you guys and you and Eric run this team together. I'm glad you guys came together and were like, listen, while we like to have 27 picks and we know the perceived value and how
we grab the extra one here, it's also worth to get rid of. Yeah.
You know what fucking means more to us? Money this year. Right? Moving on.
Yeah. Championships. I think the process was the right thing. I mean, Mike, we actually put up historically for the league, 181 in this league has been a winning number. And the dude just put up 191 or 194. So shout out Chill Will. I know he's really excited, and listen, I'm not going to, fight you. You beat us fair and square. So
got him.
I still think the process, Mike, when I look at this, we made these trades the day before Sunday, so Saturday night. I do it again, honestly. Like I think a lot of times people like to say, oh, well, you shouldn't have done that now that you know that you lost. I think from the process standpoint, you can't know that, and I think this made sense. Our lineup was much better with these two in the lineup. and we didn't move off of a first. We got rid of a face planner in seconds. So I still think we made the correct call. But again, the grind is up for us. It's over. So let's get into other people's deals. All right, let's go. Oh goodness, you're gonna love this, buddy. It's not just Blitz, Mike. Okay, it's 10 team now. He said I got to pull the WoRP, and I would imagine so because
better be good.
Well, yeah. There's a reason. Now I get it. I didn't even look when he said make sure you pull the WoRP on this. I'll run it. And Mike, but I'm curious your thoughts here before we get to the WoRP. 10 team, quarterback, and 2 Superflex. So you're starting up to 3. Okay. It's tiered PPR. It's 0.15 point per carry, and it's best ball start 13. Make 10 great again. So, Mike, let's get right into the WoRP tool. But go ahead. What are your thoughts here?
I mean, 10-team league, 2 quarterback, whatever. You look at it and you go, whoa, what the fuck are we paying quarterback prices like that for? So the WoRP better be fantastic on the quarterbacks. Now, even if I were to say this is a 12-team normal Superflex league, paying 3 first for Drake May and a best ball start 13, while I say that Drake May is within the top 3 or 4 of quarterbacks, it's pricey. That's still pricey. Like you better fucking be in love and certain Drake May is going to stay there forever. Right?
Sure.
Like in order to pay that, best ball start 13, the quarterback WoRP is usually not that great, so that's a tough price to pay. Looking at it now though, make 10 a great again. There must be some heavy-ass quarterback scoring.
Well, the scoring, I think when you have 3, right, so it's 30 starters, right, theoretically, although you don't have to with 2 Superflex. It already makes it go up, but, I mean, the scoring has to be juiced up pretty good here. I mean, you look at this line, You're telling me, like when I just, like, kind of visually looking, you're telling me basically the top 12 quarterbacks are as dominant as anything. Name your skill player, right? Like they're that dominant. So Drake May in this format is like the hymn of hymns.
To give you good reference too, if you look at the single year data, there's only one player currently beating out Drake May as far as WoRP goes.
And it's a quarterback, Josh Allen, maybe?
No. One skill player. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
One skill player beating out. Yeah.
Well, then CMC. Yeah,
the guy getting ridiculous levels of volume at the running back position.
Yeah. I mean, now look at this line, right? Like
this is a down quarterback year too.
Well, that's the thing about it.
The
running backs this year are making the reason that Bijan, I think, will certainly go ahead of Jefferson, and by how much we'll see, is because of this running back resurgence this season, right? The high end ones.
Yeah, and last year, too, we had a running back resurgence. We're 2 years in now of running backs being back at the forefront. Because just 3 years ago, it was like
3 years ago was the tsunami of fucking we're in the dog shit.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, the economy was dead, so to speak, of running backs. Now, Mike, thinking about that, right? This is the running back year. Quarterbacks are down, and I mean, you have one even running back in QB at the very top, and then look at the rest. They're just getting dominated by QBs. So this is a quarterback league. That's actually kind of wild.
And most people aren't going to play it that way. So I think it was pretty heady by Blitz. Now, my only caveat, the only way the other side works is it is a best ball start 13. So when you look at 3 liquid first, right, and I think about for best ball leagues, like what do those first actually buy? And I don't know what the market is in the league, but you kind of be surprised sometimes what just a random first will buy you. And you start adding those up in a best ball start 13, and it's like, dude, I might be able to get to like 6 WoRP, 7 WoRP total with 3 guys. Now you have more risk because you got 3 guys, right? Like you got 3 guys that could all shit the bed, or if you're buying them for a single first, they have warts on them. Okay, they're not Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay,
right.
You're not buying Amon-Ra St. Browns. Okay, you're buying guys who they could go up a little bit, but more than likely, if something bad happens, they're going into the fucking shitter. No one cares anymore. So when I think about it from that lens, I go, maybe if I'm Vigos, I would take the 3 first. Maybe. But I also think it's one of those things that Blitz actually used the WoRP tool, and he actually looked at it and went, nobody's valuing quarterbacks appropriately in this league for what they actually do. And these are the things that win you leagues. So I want to make sure that I got 3 of these fucking guys. And if somebody's going to let me get one for what I feel is too cheap, I'm going to do it. So Blitz and I don't agree about a lot. We argue in the Discord quite a bit. especially about player values and who
Sure.
you take. You know,
Yeah.
the whole WoRP
You
tool.
have
and
your
he
good,
likes
you have
his-
your good, wholehearted disagreements that are.
Yeah, he likes
But-
his points per game screenshots, but I will give him his props on this one. I think this was a pretty heady move because a
Yeah.
lot of people would just look at it as 10 team. Oh, quarterbacks don't really matter that much. I mean,
I-
fuck you, they don't.
Well, and here's what I really like. If you think about it from a quarterback perspective, right? Now, I don't. What you mentioned is a totally separate issue than this here. Like what these could buy you elsewhere. I mean, that's it's kind of market dependent. But if you really could give me a good visual of that, it'd probably be hard to say that Drake May's guaranteed ahead of him. What I will say, when you think about 26, Mike, dude, I get rid of 226 picks, and I think about the quarterback class there. Like, buddy, Drake May. If I get 2 of these or 26, oh man, that part is like, geesh. Yeah. How do you say no? Because while 27 is really revered, if I'm only losing one of those picks, I'm getting Drake May. I think it's well worth it personally. So, Mike, here we go. 12 team Superflex.
It worked.
Yeah, I know. I think there was an issue. We're back. All right, we're making 10 great again, Mike. Bijan, here's an interesting one. Ben Sinnott in this deal is an absolute fucking cut. Like, I mean, it's an absolute fucking cut, okay? Like, he shouldn't be rostered, frankly. Let me talk about tight ends here and how little they matter. And in the offseason, you get so much of this groupthink. You know how many, Mike, I fought off the amount of people I had to fight off for Ben Sinnott 2 fucking years in a row. Brutal to be here finally. Like, now all of a sudden they're quiet. Stop it. But this is kind of crazy. To me, I still think it's Bijan ahead of Neighbors. I think it's similar conversations as Jefferson, but I do think Neighbors will go a handful of spots closer to Bijan. Let's call it, though, I think Bijan's more like a late first. I think Neighbors is probably an early to mid-second, right? So, like, but I don't know. Again, we're talking healthy versus hurt. Ben Sinnott, to me, just doesn't make up the difference. I don't really get it for Chipper, right? I just don't.
This feels fucking great because Mr. Wonderful has a history on this trade show of Adam and I posting a deal, you know, the basic framework of a deal, and then we get to Mr. Wonderful's deal, and he ones up us, and finally we get to reverse this shit. Except for it doesn't come at the cost of Mr. Wonderful. It comes at the fucking guy, Chipper. Chipper. Like, God damn it, I hate this shit. We just can't fucking win, man. He
ones up us again. I mean,
yeah.
Mike, you get the first with Jefferson, but
perfect.
Tell me who gets to buy. Who gets to buy? Think about this. I will say Malik Neighbors. I wasn't really willing to strongly advocate for it just because I thought Neighbors should have been more highly revered going into year 2, and he wasn't. So that's where I wasn't sure if his value would stay Jefferson and Chase. It's not quite Jefferson and Chase, but Mike, his market has really held well. That said, I mean, imagine this late on. I mean, how many weeks has it been? Dude, it's been months. I mean, it has been months. Bijan straight up is who let you do that? Who let you do that? That's craziness to me.
Who let you do that? Yeah, that's fucking insane. Listen, if this was more like the first deal that I had with the Jefferson and the first thing, I'm like, okay, this makes more sense. But the fact that Ben Sinnott's the piece.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, you got to give me that. To me, should be at minimum. Like, I think a golden would be too light, but at least there's somewhat of a prayer there. Like,
something.
Ben Sinnott is. I mean, he's literally, he should be cut in this league.
Yeah. I don't know about cut. I don't know how to
I
beat
do.
the rosters.
I do. He should be off of rosters. Mike, there's no reason to hold him at all at this point. He's not. Like, John Bates is a thing again. You know how many tight ends on this roster are fucking destroying him? Like, it's just.
No Zach Ertz this past week, and he gets 55% of the snaps, and scores you 4 fantasy points.
Like, it's just.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm really ready to,
Remember when it was going to be the Trey McBride thing? Like, Sinnott was Trey McBride 2.0?
Like I said, I've been fighting every Sinnott truther for 2 years straight.
We've been fighting the Sanat thing too, because people are like, you guys are supposed to call him Ben Sennett. That's his fucking name. And I'm like, no, that's Sanat. And he
Sanat's
is not
worth anything. Sanat worth anything, you know?
worth anything.
He's snot. He's worth a snot rocket. I mean, he's fucking dead. That trade is gonna be the one there that takes the cake. I mean, that's not even close.
Look at these cheeks,
dude. How about this? Those are pretty nice cheeks. The South Harmon Thirst Trap too is a sweet league name. I'll say, Mike, one of the leagues, the Cook Up, I pushed in all my picks. I definitely went a little aggressive and still lost in that one. It felt like a thirst trap of trades. I don't mind any of the trades. I hate the fact that I lost though while pushing all the picks in. This is no picks. This is players. Mike, we have dead bodies for not dead body. All right, this is Kyler. This is Dimes. This is A-Rich for a singular Dak. Geist gets Dak. This is patron on patron crime here versus Soggy Danger. The cheeks are getting all the cheek quarterbacks. They're cheeked up. What are you at here on this best ball start 12?
I like the deal for both people because, again, it's one of those trades where you can clearly see like a contending team versus a fuck, I'm out of it kind of deal. Yeah. And I would do this on both sides. One, if I'm contending, I got 3 dead fucking bodies at quarterback on my team right now, right? Let me get a quarterback who's back in, QB1 potential-ish as far as what he can produce. So that one's easy for me. But on the same side of it, if I look at it from the other, like, man, I'd like to tax you more for Dak Prescott. But here's the sad thing. Dak Prescott's out there playing well, putting up fantasy points, and then you go to keep trade cut, and it's like, he's still QB 16. Nobody really seems to give a shit. So if I look at it from that aspect, it's like, okay, his value isn't going up. Doesn't really matter what he does. He can be an MVP discussion, and nobody's going to really fucking care. It's not going to move up because he's 35 years old. He's playing for the Cowboys, and we've seen Dak Prescott for multitudes of years. We're just tired of Dak Prescott. That's where we're at with him. I look at it and I go, okay, Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson. If even one of those guys, at some point next year approaches somewhere around QB 16, QB 15, I made a lateral move. If I get 2 of those guys who are starting at some point, Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson or A-Rich and Kyler or Kyler and Daniel Jones, whatever it is, if they're starting quarterbacks and the other guys even in the 20s, I've won this deal. In a best ball Superflex league, I got 2 quarterbacks for the price of 1. Production-wise is where you kind of go, who's going to produce more, right? But at the same sense, Adam, I'm very comfortable if I take a QB 12, QB 13, and I break them up into somebody who's producing a QB 16 and QB 22 in best ball. Like, it's all about the roster construction. So I'm very comfortable with the cheek side of Soggy Danger too, but I do get it if I'm Geist. It's like, dude, there's 3 dead bodies. I'm trying to win fucking money here. They're doing nothing for me. Let me at least get one who's going to produce.
Yeah, I think the thing about it here is that I don't even really need to pull up the lab. This is one of those where in best ball especially, but in any situation, even in a lineup here, right? If you've compiled this amount of dead bodies, you probably don't have quarterback options now at this point. Like, without being in an absolute insane quarterback horde, how many dead bodies can one afford, right? I mean, like, it's, you went into the year, if you had these in the offseason, thinking you had, the quarterback room of the Colts to be here, and fucking Phillip Rivers is coming out of fucking retirement, right? And journeyman Jacoby Brissett is, QB1ing his way around. So if you don't have those guys, not to mention then you get the best ball principles, Mike, and 3 zeros is a problem, right? So I think for the contending side, you have to throw out the priors and feelings, like whatever that you thought their values were and how they made your team look before, it's gone. I will say, let me ask you a question here. This is just more of a, spitballing question. With what 26 brings in, and with how little the quarterback, with how much quarterback issue we have in the NFL, let me say, what do you think the odds are of going into next year, these quarterbacks being starters? Like, do you think we get 2 of them being starters? Do you think we get 1? Do you think there's a chance we get none of these guys being day 1 starters next year? Like, where are you at with that?
66%. I think 2 out of 3.
Okay.
2 out of 3 are starting quarterbacks somewhere next year.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Jones possibly not being ready to go would be what makes it interesting. I think that if you told me they're all healthy, I would almost certainly bet 2 out of 3. I think at minimum you'll get 1 though. Like I don't see a scenario where you don't get 1. And even then, let's even say it was 1. Mike, I think you're talking about. I think the most important thing is that all these guys should be at minimum in a competition somewhere, right? Like that. That's the best part.
Here's the current state of the quarterback landscape as we stand in week 16 of this season. Right now, let me preface this by you might get 2 to 3 first-round quarterbacks next year. Might. Sure. We don't know for sure, but that feels like a good number. But you have the Jets starting Tyrod Taylor right now. Brady Cook, actually.
After Brady Cook, yeah. So
after Brady Cook. So
Brady Cook just started last week, right?
Cleveland Browns, Shedeur Sanders, right? That's not a certain given, okay? We don't know what.
Certainly not. I mean, we've already seemingly killed Dylan Gabriel. I mean, that's a dead dream, too.
Pittsburgh Steelers are starting a one-handed 77-year-old Aaron Rodgers at this point right now.
Yep.
Your Indianapolis Colts are starting Phillip Rivers. There's 4 teams. You got the Las Vegas Raiders starting Kenny Pickett at this point. There's 5 teams.
Geno seems to be really in a problem for what his future is, right?
Yeah, that's just the AFC at this point. The New Orleans Saints starting Tyler Shucky.
Yeah.
There's 6. The Cardinals are starting Jacoby Brissett. There's 7. And we don't really know while he's got a contract and he's played okay, especially after last week, though. Like, there's other teams like the Seattle Seahawks. We don't know what their quarterback future looks like as far as, like, moving on or keeping Sam Darnold, et cetera. And there's a handful of other teams that are certainly questionable. So you're somewhere about 7 teams that absolutely need some sort of quarterback next year. You're going to get 2 to 3 in the draft. That leaves 4 open spots, 4 moves like a Sam Darnold starting, leaves like Daniel Jones, being the starting quarterback for the Colts, that kind of thing. So I would say the odds would say, even with these 3 guys as they stand right now, wow, they're all dead. They're all zeros. Listen, 2 out of 3 of these guys are probably starting day 1 somewhere next year.
And whatever you think about them, these are 3 top 6 picks, right? 3 top 6 picks. A lot of times they get retread, right? You get retread for these guys at some point in their career. So I think it's probably the correct play for both sides. Honestly, I think it's a fair deal. I think blitz. That's actually a blitz error, or that. Okay, that was it. These are the old trades. So that was the last deal we had there, buddy. That was actually me not checking that out. So let me ask you. We did a lot of our deals there, but based on what was going on in the trades, I thought Mr. Wonderful was the only one that was like a horrible. This seems a little too easy. I thought the rest of them kind of made more sense.
Yeah, Chipper fucked that one up, and Mr. Wonderful gets one more over on us, and Mr. Wonderful gets to one-up us again. He's like, you get a first, when you take on Justin Jefferson and send away Bijan, But dude, when I acquire Bijan, all I have to do is send a Ben Sinnott. That's my extra juice piece.
I got the Ben Sinnott rookie price, man. He's a upside play at 2nd-round pick. I think,
even if that was the Ben Sinnott rookie pick, doesn't that like the rookie price? Doesn't that feel like?
I was saying that felt like bottom dollar though. Like I needed a 2nd-round pick of some capacity value wise to make that even somewhat close to me.
And that's coming from you, who's like the ultimate Malik Neighbors guy.
That's what I mean. And I still, matter of fact, I got his jersey again. Like that's how committed we're in on this. So
you got to kill him again for 2026. Damn it, Adam.
Dude, listen.
Stop it.
At this point, the ones that I'm committed to, we're committed. I mean, it is what it is. Let me ask you this: are there trades right now that you're still brewing? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I still have 8 teams. So I had 10 in the playoffs, and I'm down to 8. Mike, I mean, we're doing this on Wednesday. Maybe we have to throw a second show in because I've got a lot of deals heating up. I'm not going to probably, outside of a couple rare scenarios, go way over the market. But I feel like there's one of the interesting parts of having the deadline on right now is that you get 2 more people in the mix of, all right, fuck, I have to think about next year now that we're not at that point. So, Instead of 6 teams to trade with, you got 8 now, and it becomes there's I think there's a lot of deals for me to be had this week personally.
This is honestly probably one of the most active trading periods that you're going to get in Dynasty.
If you have the deadline off, this is a very fun time to trade.
There's a lot of leagues that have adopted this no trade deadline, and rightfully so. I appreciate you. It's Dynasty. Granted, there should be a trade deadline in redraft leagues. Like, I'm not arguing that shit.
Sure.
But in Dynasty leagues, right, this is the beauty of Dynasty is you have managers who are like, well, I'm thinking about 26. I'm thinking about 27. Like, I'm not playing for it this year. And then you have a handful of managers still in the mix right now trying to do whatever they can to go get it. And you will see some wild deals. You will see some where people have to make hard fucking decisions like, hey, I need to attach a first to Justin Jefferson to go get somebody in the very similar range as far as dynasty value. Like, you got to make those hard choices. So this is one of the beauties of this time of year and one of the most active if you do not have a trade deadline, which thankfully there's a ton of leagues now adopting no trade deadlines. Like, it's not even an option within the league. We're not even voting on this shit. We're just starting the league off with no trade deadline. Good luck to you guys. So I love it. I love this time of year, and it's going to be extremely active. And yes, to your question about will more deals be made by me? Yeah, fuck yeah. We'll sit down and I'll take a work poop and we'll see what's still in it, and we'll fire off some deals and we'll see if we can get anything done.
Well, and I will say, I think one of the things, Mike, that makes it polarizing still. See, now that we're down to 4, right? The problem becomes because there's 8 teams that are able and willing to trade. There's I don't know if I want to go crazy with it, but there's a little bit of a, hey, the other 3 teams that I'm trading against have the same pool of players to go get, right? So it's, oh shit, I better make a move because, and I think that's what people don't like if they're against the deadline is like, well, they don't want to have to feel like they need to push their picks in now. If CMC all of a sudden isn't in the playoffs or players like that, it's like they have to shit or get off the pot. And some people, I think, they shy away from that and they don't like having to see CMC or whoever it would be, right? Players that are of really high scoring magnitude be bought right now by their counterparts. They want to be able to just sit there and have their little team. They've had assembled at this point. So polarizing or not, I'm for the deadline. I just personally think I get it, but if we're playing in a league where it's dynasty, isn't that what capitalism kind of is? Like, let people handle their own team. Let them stop telling us what to do when the money's on the line. If I want to push all my picks in and lose, so fucking be it, right? Like, that's the market I want to play in.
And this time right now is, we're at the very end. We got 2 weeks left where draft picks are going to be at their lowest, right? Like the lowest, because in 2 weeks, as soon as that championship game is decided,
it flips on its head.
Auto rocket ship straight up. No matter what you think about the 26 class, whether you're buy Apple or not, you don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah,
those are the hot commodities.
Even if you don't like the picks, where they're valued now, how much they're not liked at the moment, relative to when rookie euphoria and hype season starts kicking in. Relative to now, it will go up. You know, the magnitude of which it will go up and which picks is, subjective. But one thing that's not subjective is rookie picks become more valuable. And the biggest thing I think to remember is rookie picks eventually turn into rookie players. And rookie euphoria is just inevitable. It's coming.
It's going to get everyone.
It's coming.
It's going to get everyone.
It's cabin fever. It's rookie fever. All right? It's all over the place.
It's like me every time I go to the strip club. I got to tell myself, they don't love you. They just love you for right now.
Yep.
But it gets me every time.
You tell yourself that every time in the early parts. And then little known fact, it's like, oh, here we are again. Here we are again. So speaking of here we are again, it took a while, but we are back. Between, concussions in the NFL, concussions here at South Harmon, between,
literally
injuries, sickness. It was, barring health, we typically bring you in. There's been a lot of fucking health issues over this way. So we're back, though. We'll be back next week again. And honestly, if Mike and I keep getting more deals done, we may have to add, compartmentalize a bonus session in for you here. If you do want your deals featured on any one of those future shows, make sure you hit up patreon.com/South Harmon. Other than that, we'll see you back here, same time, same place next week for the Dynasty Trade Show. Right here. Peace.